Welcome back to Trauma, Drama, and Life. I'm your host, Ben Taylor.
And I am Kayla Taylor.
So we're excited to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a good while since we've been on our podcast.
We have like a year.
Has it really been a year? Yeah, I guess it has.
I think so, because we were going through infertility, and that was
life,
hardship.
Infertility, and then fertility.
Yeah.
And so you might hear in the background there's like a sound machine going. That's not because of the infertility, but because of the fertility.
Yes.
And now we have a little nugget that's sitting in the back seat right now. And we're recording this on the go because we figured out the best way to give you a life update would just be to update you on our life while we are doing our life. So currently we're just hanging out. We're driving from point A to point B, and the little one is asleep. So we decided to jump on here, record the first podcast episode of season 3, and just give you a life update of all the stuff that's been happening since last time we were around.
Yeah.
So you wanna kick it off here and just give a little bit of what's been going on in our lives?
Yeah. So I don't even remember what our last podcast episode was.
I think it sucked, and we're just moving past it.
You think it sucks?
Probably just about something that nobody cares about.
So towards the end, I was just really struggling mentally with just us not getting pregnant. I think we've been trying for 18 months, and there was like no success. And so finally, after tooth and nail, then drugged me basically to acupuncture, and we ended up getting pregnant, but then we had a miscarriage. And thankfully, obviously a miscarriage is really hard because we've already experienced loss in a significant way with our first child. But this one was very, very early on. So I just knew in my heart and in my gut that it wasn't going to be sticking because the pregnancy tests were not progressing like they normally would. And so I grieved that, and then Sophia broke her arm, and then I was like, yeah, there's no way that we are getting pregnant anytime soon, because I was super stressed and worried about that. But then we ended up getting pregnant, and so in the midst of
that was an interesting piece because I was on a group call running like some of my group and running some of the people that work with me inside of the Thriver community, and then all of a sudden Kayla comes like busting in, just like literally I had just finished my call, and Sophia's like screaming, crying, and I'm like, what's going on? And so we jumped in the car and zipped her to the hospital, and she got some pain meds, and then from there we went to another hospital because they had to do surgery.
Yeah, because it was like right above. Oh, yeah, it was right above her elbow, because we thought she had dislocated her elbow.
Right.
But it turns out it was like a fracture right above her elbow, and so in order for it to heal properly, she had to get 2 pins placed for 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then
she was out of the cast.
And then she was out of the cast because of where it was broken. They didn't have to do it for 6 weeks. It had to be for 4 weeks. But then she obviously, for the next like 8 weeks, she had to really take it easy on her arm. And that was actually a year ago, because we went on our Disney cruise like September the 11th or something. And then it was like a couple of weeks later, she broke her arm.
So we've got you up for like 3 months so far. So
yeah.
There's still more, but yeah, so then we went on a cruise, right?
Yeah, we went on a cruise, and then towards the end of like Sophia's healing and stuff, Ben and I actually surprised me with a trip to Hawaii, and I went out to California with him, and I actually found out I was pregnant when we were
in
there.
Hawaii, basically, yeah.
So, so yeah, it was
the end of pregnancy and yummy acai bowls.
Yes.
So we found a place in Hawaii that had the best acai bowls on the planet. It was just amazing. It was like super fresh and super yummy. So we literally found this place and then had acai bowls like every day. So it was pretty amazing.
But yeah. So Then
that takes us up to December, right?
Yeah, like November-ish. We went to Disneyland as a family too.
Yeah, that was December.
That was November.
November.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then December, all through that, I'm pregnant, and my pregnancies are not easy. I get very sick, but I was also very thankful. At the same time, I think that, yeah. I mean, in spite of the sickness, I was very, I think, thankful, and I didn't really complain about it. Like, obviously, like, I was miserable, but it was also like,
yeah,
this is just,
you did good. You didn't complain much.
this is just how it is.
That is good.
Yeah.
What happened then? What, January? Do we have anything happen in January?
No, we went on family vacation in February. We went skiing, but I obviously didn't.
Oh yeah, we went to Colorado and went skiing. So we went from Florida being what, like 97 feet above seawater, to a mountain that was what, like 13, it was like 10,000.
Yeah, it was 10,000.
But we went up to like 13,000 or 12,000, something like that.
Being pregnant, because I was in my second trimester at that point, and being pregnant, going up to 13,000, I was like, get me off of this mountain like ASAP, because I was just feeling so nauseous. And I mean, I was still struggling with sickness at the time, so it was just like escalated. Right. So I was just like, okay.
Yeah, where we stayed was, I think, like 9,000, and at the top of I checked the elevation when I was at the top skiing, and I think it was 11,000. And then when we drove away, we went a different route and went over the mountain, and it took us all the way up to, like, it was close to, I think, 13,000.
Yeah, and that's the highest elevation that I've ever been in. I think growing up in South Carolina, I think the elevation is like 2,000 maybe.
Yeah, it's not much.
But it's still not much compared to Colorado. So that was definitely...
So that kicked off 2024 as being adventure year, right?
Yeah.
That became the word on that trip, mainly because it was the first time that I had like exclusively planned everything. And then she's like, "Where are we going?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Let me check my email. Can't find the email. I'm not sure where we're going. We'll figure it out." So yeah, the adventure became the theme of that trip. All right.
Yeah, and then it just continued on into the years.
Life adventure.
So yeah,
Then we went fast forward to baby, or was
fast forward to
there's probably other stuff that happened, but we were just
like minor stuff, like preparing really for baby and things like that. And I was planning on having a VBAC. So I'd had a C-section with Sophia, and I was trying to have a regular birth with Bella, but Bella had other plans. She decided that she wanted to be breech.
Upside down.
So, I ended up scheduling a C-section with her, and the week before my scheduled C-section, I was having contractions all week. I really thought that we were going to have her earlier.
Early, yeah.
And because it was to the point to where when I went in for my 38-week appointment, they actually did, what's called an NST. So they wanted to make sure that she wasn't in distress. It's like a fetal stress test. They wanted to make sure she wasn't in distress, and they wanted to check my contractions. And they were every like 5 minutes apart, but I wasn't progressing, so they weren't really concerned. They were just like, if they get more intense or they become more regular, then you do need, or closer together, then I need to go to the hospital. And at this time, he was like in California.
Yeah.
And
I was finishing up a trip and came
so
back
he actually,
right before.
I told him to cut his trip short, because I think he was supposed to stay like 2 days, and literally he just did like one day
out and back. Yeah.
Just in case, because I was like, I don't really know what's going to happen. So yeah, and so then we went in for our scheduled C-section, and that went smooth. There was like a little, like, small little things, like both of our body temperatures were a little under what they wanted, so we didn't get to do skin to skin right away. We were both just under lots of blankets, but other than that, she came out healthy.
Yeah, and she opened her eyes like right away.
Yep, opened her eyes, came out crying right away.
I saw like a picture of her like no more than an hour later, with her eyes open, like looking at me.
Yeah.
I was like really shocked. But we've seen that with both our girls, just strong babies coming out.
They hold up their heads like right away. Like
like moving her head like right away. Like literally like day of, she's like picking her head up. We're like, what in the world?
So then breastfeeding is going way better this time around. So
well, it's also because of other factors too.
Yes.
So like talk about that a little bit just to give a perspective. I mean, the first time you tried to breastfeed, one, you didn't really have a whole lot of support from the nurses.
Lactation consultants were not very, they only came in once when I had Sophia. You couldn't like call them, like they weren't on call like they were at this hospital. And I really appreciated that, for one, but they were very, very supportive. And then just the aspect of obviously like having Ben, like he's been so like much more helpful and more present and willing to help out wherever he can, obviously. So it's definitely been way less stressful in that aspect, I think.
Well, that's the thing that we talked about is like looking back at Sophia and her birth and you trying to breastfeed then, there's also a piece of it that you couldn't because of all of the stress and anxiety. Yeah, so like I was putting you under so much stress and anxiety, like your body wasn't able to produce like much of anything because it was just so toxic at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I was only producing like 1 to 2 ounces like each pump, like by 6 to 8 weeks. And by 6 to 8 weeks with Bella, I was already like getting it over, like stocking up freezer supply.
But that's a big thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is how your body gets affected, not just going through pregnancy, but how your body gets affected with the stress of everything else around. Like stress from a toxic relationship, yeah, but like stress from work, stress from arguing, stress from all different types of things, like how it can really wreak havoc on your body. And what we also know is like how it can transfer to the kids. Like from being inside the womb to, once out, like they can pick up on the stress, on the frustrations, on the confusion, and different pieces that like we've realized that different aspects of like Sophia, that she picks up on different levels of stress or anxiety because of like her being in your womb and then her being around in a very like tumultuous time inside of our relationship.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. She's definitely much more slightly anxiety driven, and we're trying to work on that. Just even when I say like things like, mom needs like a little bit of space or a break, or like if I go out with like some friends, she's like, well, are you coming back? Like, it's just like in her mind, it's just like that anxiety piece of like, are my parents separating? Like, are they like,
Yeah, so like different pieces that it's now just an awareness piece of trying to be able to help her to not have the fear, the stress, or the anxiety, or just like the anxiety about like relationships, like someone's upset, like we have to fix it right away, like she'll be stressed out about that, but her being able to understand that she's okay and that like she's still loved and all those things is really important. So it catches up to baby, and then I guess really like stepping into
well, did you want to speak on how it's been different for you as far as like but recovery wise has also been a lot better because he was helpful. I think I was more vulnerable, I feel like, with my hormones like fluctuating this time than I was with Sophia for sure.
Yeah, I think you felt like safer to tell me like, this is hormone, like there's a hormone slapping you, not me. Like, like not that you did, but it was like a piece of like being able to communicate like, hey, I'm sorry, like I just feel crazy right now.
Right. Like I would just be like, I would like spout off something and like burst into tears, and he's like, what do? I was like, I don't know, because I don't know what's wrong with me. This is just hormones. And he's like, okay. Like
this is new.
This is new. Because like last time you literally went to work like 2 days after we came home from the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there was a lot more of us like planning out and having more scheduled time of me being able to be engaged. And even then it's kind of like you never have enough time, but it's always a piece of trying to balance just life and work and running coaching business and being able to be there. So it was a lot different at the hospital. I think just like being engaged and being available, that was just new. It was different. And so there's different moments where, you know, Kayla would talk through being like, hey, do you remember this? And I'm like, no, not really. Like, I don't remember much of anything about Sophia's birth. So it's kind of like, for her, it was like a second go around. For me, it was kind of like the first time of actually just being engaged, being present, and just taking the time to be there. And then when they came home, I think it was very much different in the amount of time and attention spent, like trying to make sure house things were functioning and going well, and like stuff that you might normally take care of that I was trying to make sure I kept up with. And I lasted pretty good for about 2 weeks, was probably like my max, where then it started like slipping through the cracks. It was a lot easier at the beginning, and then had to start dealing with not just the laundry, but then the daughter's emotions and feelings, and that's where it started to kind of unravel. And I'm like, help. So it was good. It was a good experience, and it was a good time.
He appreciates more of what I do in the day-to-day now.
Being able to handle all of the crazies and everything that's going on. So, but yeah, so it was kind of, I guess that was my take on it. Yeah. What else are we updating? What else happened in our lives?
Yeah, I mean, and now we're just kind of in the rhythm of
life. Well, then we started.
Yeah, and then homeschool started in August.
Right.
So that's been a joy and a challenge. And
to be honest, it has been good and bad.
Yes.
It has been hell some days with a little back talking 16-year-old and a 5-year-old body.
It is very humbling to raise kids who have your personality. It's just, that's how we're going to put it. It is just...
And I'm just glad because it's not all of my personality.
No, it is us combined. But there are definitely some things in there of you. But it's just, you know, it's definitely challenging, and trying to keep it interesting for her, because she is very much like both of us, where she gets bored easily. So when she gets bored, she almost acts like she doesn't know it, and I know that she knows it. Mm-hmm. And so
she acts like she doesn't have the answers or know or understand things that she actually does. It's just her way of being bored and seeing an aspect of like ADHD that we kind of have different traits of that she struggles with sometimes, the attention piece and getting distracted and all. So yeah, but that's been an interesting challenge, and there's been several times where I've just had to really talk to Sophia to put the fear of God into her and be like, you need to listen to mom, because this does not work with you being disrespectful and mean and rude and all those different things. So it's been...
And it's also her getting into a new routine, because there's some days that she's like, she'll ask about the weekends, and then when we get to like Sunday, I'm like, all right, you need to make sure you get a good night's sleep because you have school tomorrow. She's like, why do we have school every day? And so it's just like, well, this is just how it is. This is how it goes. And so...
Right. And last night she was like, it's not a school night. I'm like, yes, school's in the morning. She's like, but we didn't do school today, so it's not a school night. I'm like, the school's in the morning. So yeah, she's still figuring it all out, like piece by piece. But it's pretty cool to be able to see as she's starting to read and put sentences together and things like that.
Yeah. So in that aspect, as far as like when you homeschooling, you can see them grow and learn and develop. That's like really awesome. But then obviously like the fight or struggle that comes along with that is not so awesome.
Right.
So there's definitely pros and cons.
To it. A piece of life. And then, well, after the baby, so we didn't really do any vacations or getaways or anything like that, just because it was, you know,
we didn't know how it was going to be adjusting, and obviously I was healing. And
well, and with pregnancy beginning, like you're kind of like sick as a dog for a good
and
while,
we did go, I mean, we did do Disneyland and all of that, but I was still very sick in Disneyland. I was like 7 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, we did Disneyland 4.
No, I was 7 weeks pregnant when we were at Disneyland.
But I'm saying, like, we didn't plan other stuff throughout the pregnancy because we knew how sick you're going to be. So since then, we've had a couple different times. So like this year, I've been going, doing like a night out, a night away with Sophia once a quarter, like where we actually go to a hotel and actually have like a more of a different type of like daddy-daughter date. We do ones like every other week. But then that's been something new. And then we've gone as a family now to a couple different places, right?
Yeah, I've just done some staycations at Disney.
There's like something to kind of unplug, do something just a little bit different, just disconnect from regular life, which we're finding and we're realizing that we like to disconnect from regular life, but still be plugged into regular life. So what we realize is next time we do like a staycation, we're going to do a staycation and take our prepped meals, like take our food that we have, because it's so much nicer just to stay on that than it is to eat some of the stuff that, you know, makes you feel bloated or fat or whatever kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Which is, I mean, obviously there may be people listening. We're just crazy when it comes to like our meals now, because we've just gotten into like, especially after having a baby. For me, I just like have the same thing pretty much every single breakfast. And then my lunches I switch up, but then for dinners it's pretty much the same 2 meals because it's just so easy to like prep it. So like when I eat like a greasy burger when we go out, like 3 for like a staycation, if I eat burgers like 3 nights in a row, I'm like, ooh, I don't want another burger for like a year. Like, not really, but it's just.
Well, we don't eat 3 burgers. But,
well, yeah, but it's just like that aspect of.
And we've also noticed that there's different aspects about our personalities that we like to be structured, and like we like having some structure and order to our day, to our life, to things that are going on. But then also at the same time, like we want to be flexible and we want to be this person that just like does stuff and is actually like just moving and growing and like just doing whatever kind of a thing, just being flexible. And then we realize that every time we try to be super flexible, if we haven't planned the flexibility, that it's stressful. Yeah. So
we like structured flexibility with spontaneity, but it has to be
structured spontaneity. That's the word.
Yeah.
So getting to the place where we have a set time to be spontaneous, but not just trying to be spontaneous randomly, because then it doesn't work, and then we get frustrated, and then Sophia gets frustrated, and then we all get frustrated. So it's been a thing that we've been learning and growing, developing, and just
about ourselves.
Us,
you know,
right?
Like so.
So, is that it for life update? Thinking about wraps it all up.
I think so, and then.
So.
I think we're gonna just say like this podcast. We're just going to come and just do random topics. It's just going to be.
There's no agenda that way. So there's no agenda. It's just us talking through stuff that's on our mind. We just want to jump in and give the first life update of here's life, here's what's been going on. So welcome back, or welcome new if this is new for you. But we're excited to be here just talking through our life, and we're going to talk through the fun times, the bad times, the happy times, the frustrating times, all drama, and life. Exactly. So if you like this podcast, just like, rate, or review, share it with someone else that this might be encouraged to know, hey, we don't have all our shit together, but we're going to figure it out one step at a time. So join us either through the trauma, the drama, or the life, and y'all have a blessed and a wonderful week, and we'll see y'all next time.